So we're going to start actually making some buildings for our low poly landscape. So I'm just going to get rid of this. So I'm going to open a new Blender file. So File, and then New, Reload Startup File, brings us to our default. And I'm just going to turn my screencast keys back on. So now we're going to try and make this cube into a building. So we're going to hop over into edit mode. So we just hit tab, we're now in edit mode, and we're going to have a look at using our different viewports, different views in our 3D window on our numpad. So in the first lecture, if you're working on a laptop, I said that you could emulate these keys by coming to the input tab and emulate numpad. So we're just going to have a look at what those keys actually do. So if you come down to your view menu here at the bottom of your 3D view, you can see that you've got various different views. So you've got your camera view, which we'll be looking at later. You've got your top view, you've got bottom, front, back, right and left, and you can see the shortcut keys next to them. So let's just have a look and see what these do. So that's the front perspective. If you want to know what view you're in, you can always look up here. So front perspective, and then we've got top perspective, right perspective, and left perspective, back perspective. So when we're in perspective view, you can see that as we're looking at it, it's sort of like in the correct perspective from if we were actually standing in front of this cube. So it's always going to be in the actual perspective view. Now if you hit 5, you'll see it's sort of changed the view a bit. So now if we look at it, it's always going to keep this cube in scale to the view, and this is orthographic view. So if sometimes when you come in to your view model and it looks a little bit out of place, sort of not quite right, just make sure you have a look up here and see what view mode you're in. So use it ortho. If you hit 5 again, go back to perspective and you'll get a sort of easier view. So 7, that's from the top, 3 is from the side. Now with the side views, so we're in right perspective at the moment, so it's put our grid as if we're looking at it through a camera as we're looking at it now. So if we hit 5, you can see that it's now put our axis in for us. So this is quite helpful if you're trying to get something, you know, directly sat on that grid line, on that y-axis. You can kind of see it a bit better. So with the side views and the top views, it's easier to have it in orthographic mode, so you can actually snap it to the grid axis a lot easier. So if we just come out of ortho back into user perspective, so we're going to be using some of those views when we're modelling this building. So first things first is we need to make this cube into a building. So I'm going to hop into my right view and I'm going to make it ortho. So that's 3 on your number pad and then 5. Or if you're using a keyboard without a numpad, you can just use your 1 to 0 keys at the top. So we're just going to move this, oops, so make sure we've got it all selected, not just one point. So A to deselect, A to select all, and we're just going to move it up so it's sat on that y-axis there, and then we're going to want to scale this upwards. So I'm just going to go scale, and I'm going to scale it on the Z, and I'm just going to scale it up and then move it up again. So it's just sort of sat. Oops. So if you do that and move out of your ortho view or your right view, just click 3 again and it'll just go back to that side view that right view that you're looking at. So I'm just going to come out of ortho, go back into perspective. So now we've got a nice little tower going on, and what I want to do is I want to make a sort of a lip edge around this top section here to create a sort of protruding roof. So how am I going to do that? Because at the moment all I can do is I can move these around, and I can't actually currently manipulate anything apart from these individual faces. So what we're going to do is we're going to create an extra edge around the top of this model. I'm going to do that using an edge loop. So to do that, so we're just going to select all of our model again, so A to deselect and A to select again, and then we're going to use Control R. So once you've pressed Control R, you should notice that you've got this pink line. So it can either go horizontally or it can go vertically. So what this is going to do is it's going to create a new edge. It's going to cut this geometry and insert edges and vertices along this line. So we want it going horizontally. So if I just left click that, you'll see that it's changed into an orange line, and we can now move it up and we can move it down. So I'm just going to move mine to the top, and I'm going to left click again, and now that has put that edge in. So if we go to vertices now, you can see it's added in extra vertices for us, and we've also got extra edges as well. So I'm just going to do that one more time. So I'm going to select everything, and then I'm going to do Control R. You can see my pink line here, which is great, and then I'm just going to move it up to about there. So now what we've got is we've got two sections of our model that have been separated from our main cube section at the bottom. So now what I want to do is I want to make this section, there's this one loop here, and I want to pull that out from our model. So if I select this face, if I just go around and select all these faces actually, let's just see what we can do. So I want that to be scaled out. So if I scale that out, you can see that what it's done is it's actually scaled all of the geometry that's attached to that model, which is not what we wanted. So I'm going to undo that. So what we're going to need to do now is we're going to need to extrude these faces. So with all your faces selected all the way around, if you just hit E on your keypad, you'll notice that nothing's really happened, but you've got this line. So if you now move it from side to side, you can see that it's just moving that one section. So we don't want to move that. So I've just right clicked to get it back to its normal selection. So now if I press S, you'll see that I can actually just extrude that, just that one section out. So what it's done is it's created a face on top of these faces, and that means that now you're just manipulating these sections of this geometry. So the extrude tool is very, very handy. So I'm just going to put another one of those in underneath. I'm just going to make that a little bit smaller actually. So I'm just going to go through that process again with you guys. So select all of my geometry and Control R. If we wanted to put in more than one, if we use our middle mouse wheel, you can see that that's now creating quite a lot of loop cuts. So we can increase or decrease the loop cuts that we make. So let's just put in 2, and you can see that it's moving them together as one. So if we just put that there for now, so now we've got a cut here and we've got a cut here. So but we want this cut to be closer to this. So what we could do is just select all of these edges, and then we could move that up, but that's kind of time consuming, and we kind of could just actually select all of them at once. So if we just undo that, move that down to the bottom. So to select a loop of edges or a loop of faces, you can use the edge loop select. So if you hold Alt and click on one of your edges, you'll see that that has now selected all of those edges. So let's just do that to this one up here. So if I just hold down Alt and right click, you can see it's selected all of that edges, and we can also do it with the faces. So just come to face select, and we go to the corner of these two faces. You can see now it's selected all of those, and we can do the same with any of these. If we wanted to select more than one loop at a time, just hold down Alt and Shift and then right click, and then you can see that you can manipulate lots of loops at once, which is very cool. So if we just try, let's just move this, let's go back to edge select and then Alt and right click. Let's just move that loop up, and then we're going to extrude this loop. So we go over to face select, and then we want to select this loop of faces here. So just come to this corner, hold down Alt, and then that's selected that one loop, and then E to extrude, and then I'm just going to right click. Oops, accidentally deselected that, so just Alt and right click to select that again, and then scale it out, and then you can see we've got two sort of little roof sections here. So I'm just going to add in some extra sections to my building. Okay, so I'm just going to add in an extra cube. So I want another little building on the side of this one. So I'm going to put my cursor back to the center. So cursor to selected, sorry. Cursor to center, so you can see it's now down there, and then I'm going to Shift A and add a cube, and I'm just going to move that over and then move it up. Let's just have a look. Make sure that's definitely in the right place. There we go, that's about right. Cool. So now we've got our extra little building on here. So I want this to have sort of flat roof. So I'm just going to do the same thing over here as I did up here. So Control R, and you can see I've got my loop cut. Just going to do one, and then I'm going to go to face mode. I'm going to Alt click to select that loop of faces, E to extrude, right click, and then S to scale that out. And I'm just going to move that forward. Actually, I'm just going to undo that. Now, I don't want this back face to be selected when I extrude. I just want to extrude these three faces, but I can't really get to this face. You can see I'm trying to deselect it, and I'm actually selecting the other faces. So to be able to see through our model to get to this face, we need to put it into wireframe mode. So to do that, just press Z, and now you can see that we can see through our model, and now I can get to this face here, and if I hold down Shift and click on it, it's going to deselect that, which is great. And then if I hop back into solid mode, which is our default mode, so Z again, and then I can scale. So E to extrude, right click, and then S to scale. And you can see it's scaled just those bits, and then I can move this forward. And I'm just going to scale that in a bit actually. And I don't want this one to be quite as far out, so I'm just going to push that back in. Okay, so when you're happy with your roof, now we're going to add in some windows on this. So we're going to do this a couple of ways. So I just want one window on this side, so I'm just going to select this face, and I'm going to extrude this face. So I'm going to press E to extrude, and then I'm going to scale it. So you can see now that it's created an extra face and it's split up this geometry. So now we've got a square face and we've got these other triangular ones. So with just this square one selected, I'm just going to scale that down a bit more. And then what we can do is we can grab our transform tool, so just grab this Z, so we're just moving it along the Z axis and then on the X axis, just so it's at the top there. And then I want to indent it slightly, so if I just pulled it in now, you can see that it's not actually going in as I want it to. I want it to just move this one face in, not affect the rest of this geometry. So I'm going to undo that, I'm going to extrude it again, and then I'm just going to push it back so that it's just slightly indented. So there we go, created a window. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So select this face, E to extrude, S to scale, scale it down, move it up using my arrows. That's about right. And then E to extrude again, and then just push it back. So there we go, now I've got two windows, which is wonderful. So I'm going to put some more windows on this. I'm going to do this in a slightly different way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break up this one face into lots and lots of faces. So to do that, we need to do something called subdivision. So if we press W, brings up our specials menu, which you can see you've got lots of different options. So we're just going to use subdivide. So if I click on subdivide, you can see it's now split that into 4 sections. So if we come over to our tools on the left hand side, you can see it's got this little subdivide option here, and it's got number of cuts. So this is the number of times it's going to subdivide it. So currently it's doing it once on both axes. So if we up those, you can see that it's creating more subdivisions. So I'm going to leave mine at 9. You can do however many you want or however little you want. And then I'm just going to, holding down shift, I'm going to select just every other of these faces. Oops. So you can do yours however you want. I'm just going to do mine like that. So now I've selected all those faces. Now I want to do the same thing that I did to these windows. I want to push them in. So E to extrude, and then just push them in. And then there you can see you've now got all your faces, made your own little windows. So that's what you can do if you want to make multiple windows. Now if you want to add extra windows into here, you have to be quite careful if you're going to use this extrude method, because if we select this face, you can see that it's this shape. So now if we extrude this, sorry, So if we E to extrude and then S to scale, you can see it's actually still the same shape as our original geometry. So if you wanted more than one window in here, it's best to subdivide it if you want them to be square. If you want them to be a different shape, then obviously you could go ahead and we could extrude that back. We could have a panel like so on our building. So I'm just going to leave mine like that actually. So I'm just going to add in some extra windows here. So E to extrude, and then I'm going to scale that down. I'm going to make this a long window, so I'm going to scale it along the Z axis, and then I'm going to scale it along the X axis, and then I'm going to move it up, and then I'm going to extrude it in again, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So select that face, E to extrude, S to scale, bring it down, scale it on the Z, and then scale it on the X, oops, a bit too far, and then just move it up, and E to extrude, and push it in. So I'm going to put some more windows on this one as well. I'm going to subdivide this section. So W to subdivide, so that's giving me 4, let's just up that to 9 again, and I'm just going to select, so shift and right click to select every other window or every other face. So I'm just going to do mine like so. I'm going to make these a bit bigger actually, like that, and then E to extrude, and I'm just going to push those in like so. So there you go, that is one building made. So you can make as many buildings as you want using the same process. So I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to save this file, so file save as, and I'm going to save it as, let's just say this is low poly landscape, and I've already got one called low poly landscape, so I'm just going to put this in as Udemy, and then I'm going to save that. Okay, so that's our first building made. So in the next video we're going to be looking at making a slightly different type of building. So we'll see you in the next video.